The dropship shook hard as it entered the atmosphere of Kethros 7. Inside, 12 Terran Marines held tight to their seats. The hull glowed orange from the heat. Warning lights flashed across the cabin. Sergeant Maria Chen looked at her squad. They were young, most of them. This was their first real mission. The Galactic Council had sent them to recover a research team that went silent 3 weeks ago. Nobody knew what happened to them. Nobody knew what waited on the surface below. 2 minutes to landing, the pilot said over the radio. Prepare for rough touchdown. Scanners show heavy vegetation and possible hostile wildlife. Private James Walker checked his rifle for the 5th time. He was nervous. Everyone could see it. The big man next to him, Corporal Diego Santos, put a hand on his shoulder. Relax, kid, we trained for this. Whatever is down there, we can handle it. Walker nodded but said nothing. He kept checking his rifle. The dropship broke through the clouds. Below them was a jungle world. Thick purple trees covered everything. Rivers of dark water cut through the landscape like veins. The sky was green, filled with strange clouds that moved too fast. Research station should be 5 kilometers north of our landing zone, Chen said. We move fast and quiet. Intel says the local predators are extremely dangerous. Class 7 threat level. The Marines exchanged looks. Class 7 meant the wildlife could kill armored soldiers. It meant the creatures on this world had evolved to be perfect hunters. Most Class 7 worlds were marked as off-limits, but the research team had insisted on coming here anyway. The dropship landed in a small clearing. The ramp dropped and the Marines moved out in formation. The air was thick and wet. It smelled like rotting flowers and something else, something animal. Chen held up her fist. Everyone stopped. She listened. The jungle was too quiet, no birds singing, no insects buzzing, nothing moved. Something is watching us, she whispered into her radio. Spread out, watch the trees. The Marines formed a defensive circle. Their eyes scanned the purple vegetation. The trees were massive, taller than any on Earth. Their bark was black and smooth like glass. Strange vines hung from the branches, dripping some kind of thick liquid. Private Walker felt his heart beating fast. He aimed his rifle at the shadows between the trees. He saw something move, just for a second, a shape, big and fast. Contact left, he shouted. Everyone turned, but there was nothing there, just empty jungle. Easy, Walker, Santos said. Could have been the wind. There is no wind, Walker replied. His voice was shaking. Chen made a decision. We move now, stay tight. If something attacks, we respond together. They started walking north. The jungle closed around them. The trees became thicker. The light became darker. After an hour of walking, they found the first body. It was one of the researchers, a woman. She was lying face down in the mud. Her equipment was scattered around her. There was no blood, no wounds. She looked like she had simply fallen asleep and never woke up. What killed her? One of the Marines asked. Chen knelt beside the body. She scanned it with her equipment. No external injuries, no poison in her blood. Heart just stopped. Heart attacks don't happen to healthy researchers, Santos said. Fear can stop a heart, Chen replied quietly, if something scared her badly enough. They kept moving. They found 2 more bodies over the next kilometer, same condition. No wounds, hearts stopped, faces frozen in expressions of pure terror. The Marines were getting nervous now. They moved slower. They watched the shadows more carefully, and those shadows seemed to watch back. Then they heard it, a sound from deep in the jungle. It was not a growl or a roar. It was something worse, a kind of clicking, like bones hitting bones. It came from everywhere at once. Form up, Chen ordered. The Marines pressed their backs together. They aimed their rifles outward. The clicking got louder. It surrounded them. Private Walker was the first to see them. They came out of the trees like liquid shadows, 6 of them, maybe 7. It was hard to count because they kept moving. They were the size of large wolves but built completely different. Their bodies were long and low. They had 6 legs each. Their skin was dark purple, almost black, and it seemed to change and shift like it was made of smoke. But the worst part was their faces. They had no eyes that Walker could see, just smooth skin where eyes should be. Their mouths were wide and filled with teeth that looked like broken glass, and those mouths were clicking, opening and closing, making that terrible sound. "Hold fire," Chen commanded. "Nobody shoot unless I give the order." The creatures circled them. They moved with perfect coordination. Like they were one mind in many bodies, they got closer. The clicking got faster. Walker's finger was on the trigger. He was ready to fire, but then something strange happened. One of the creatures stopped. It tilted its head like a dog hearing a strange sound. Then it made a different noise, not clicking, something softer, almost like a question. Chen slowly lowered her rifle. Her squad looked at her like she was crazy. "Sergeant, what are you doing?" Santos demanded. "Look at them," Chen said. "They are not attacking, they are studying us." She was right. The creatures had stopped circling. They were just watching now. Their eyeless faces pointed at the Marines. Their mouths had stopped clicking. Chen took a slow step forward. Every Marine held their breath. "Easy," she said, not to her squad, to the creatures. "Easy, we are not here to hurt you." The lead creature moved closer. It was less than 3 meters away now, close enough to kill her before anyone could react. It made that soft sound again. Then it did something nobody expected. It sat down. Chen laughed. It was a nervous laugh, but it was real. "I think it wants to talk." "Sergeant, these things killed the researchers," Walker said. "We should kill them first." "Did they?" Chen asked. "I did not see any bite marks on those bodies. No claw wounds, nothing." She looked at the creature sitting in front of her. "I do not think these animals killed anyone. I think they tried to help, and when they failed, they waited. They waited for someone else to come." The creature made that sound again, and this time Chen was certain. It was asking for help. The Galactic Council had many rules about contact with alien wildlife. Most of those rules said to keep your distance. Shoot first if threatened. Never try to communicate with creatures below sentient intelligence level. Sergeant Chen decided to ignore all of those rules. She reached into her pack and pulled out a ration bar. The creature watched her. Its eyeless face tracked her every movement. She wondered how it could see without eyes. Sound, maybe, or heat, or something humans could not understand. She broke the ration bar in half and held one piece out toward the creature. "Here," she said, "food. Probably tastes terrible, but it will not kill you." The creature leaned forward. It sniffed the air. Then its mouth opened and a long tongue came out. Not rough like a dog's tongue, smooth and dark. It wrapped around the ration bar and pulled it inside. The creature chewed slowly. Then it made a sound that Chen could only describe as pleased. "Sergeant, this is against about 50 regulations," Santos said. "Write me up later," Chen replied. "Right now, I want to know what happened to the research team." She pulled out her datapad and brought up images of the researchers. She showed them to the creature. It studied the pictures with its eyeless face. Then it stood up and started walking into the jungle. It stopped after a few meters. It looked back at Chen, made that soft, questioning sound again. "It wants us to follow," Chen said. "Into the jungle with those things," Walker shook his head. "This is how horror vids start." "This is also how we find out what happened," Chen said. "I am going. Anyone who wants to stay can stay." Nobody stayed. They were Marines. They followed their sergeant. The creatures led them through the jungle, not the path they had been taking before. A different way. Safer, Chen realized. The creatures were showing them how to avoid the truly dangerous areas. They walked for 2 hours. The jungle changed around them. The trees became shorter. The purple leaves became lighter in color. And there were sounds now, birds or something like birds, life returning to the world. Then they reached the research station. It was built into the side of a small hill, metal walls and reinforced doors, solar panels on the roof. It looked intact, no damage that Chen could see. But the door was open, wide open, like someone had left in a hurry and never came back. The creatures stopped at the edge of the clearing. They would not go closer to the station. One of them made that clicking sound again, not the hunting click from before. This was warning, fear. "They are scared of this place," Chen said. "Smart animals," Santos replied. Chen approached the station carefully. Her squad followed in tactical formation. They reached the door and looked inside. The main room was a mess, tables overturned, equipment scattered everywhere, papers on the floor, screens still glowing with data nobody was reading. "Search the station," Chen ordered. "Find any survivors, find out what happened." The Marines spread out. Chen went to the main computer terminal. It was still active. She started pulling up logs. The research team had come to Kethros 7 to study the wildlife, specifically the creatures that had just led the Marines here. The researchers called them shadow hunters. They were the apex predators of this world. Nothing else came close. But the researchers had made a mistake, a terrible mistake. They tried to capture one. Chen kept reading. The logs became more frantic. The captured shadow hunter had called to its pack. They came by the dozens. They surrounded the station. But they did not attack. They just waited and watched. The researchers panicked. They could not leave. They could not call for help because their communications were blocked by the jungle's strange atmospheric conditions. Days passed, then weeks. People started dying, not from the creatures, from fear, from stress, from their own hearts giving up. The last log was written by the team leader, a man named Dr. Vance. "They never wanted to hurt us," he wrote. "They just wanted their family member back. We were the monsters here, not them. We captured an intelligent being and put it in a cage, and we could not even understand that they were asking us to let it go." Chen looked up from the terminal. "Search the holding cells," she said. "Now." They found it in the basement. A shadow hunter, smaller than the others. Younger, maybe. It was in a metal cage. The cage was strong, but the creature had stopped trying to escape long ago. It was barely alive. "Get it out," Chen ordered. Walker hesitated. "Sergeant, if we let that thing loose." "Get it out." Walker cut the lock. The cage door swung open. The young shadow hunter did not move. It was too weak. Chen knelt beside it. She poured water into its mouth. She gave it food from her rations. The creature ate slowly. Its body shook with each breath. "We need to get it outside," Chen said, "to the others." It took 4 Marines to carry the creature. They brought it out of the station and into the clearing. The adult shadow hunters were still waiting at the edge of the jungle. When they saw the young one, they made a sound Chen had never heard before. It was not clicking or questioning. It was something else, something that sounded almost like crying. The Marines set the young creature down on the soft ground. The adults rushed forward. They surrounded it. Their long tongues licked its face. Their bodies pressed close to share warmth. And then something happened that changed everything. The lead creature, the one that had first approached Chen, turned to face her. It walked slowly toward her. It stopped less than a meter away. Then it bowed. Its front legs bent. Its head went down. It was a gesture of respect, of gratitude. Chen bowed back. "You are welcome," she said quietly. The creature raised its head. It made a new sound, soft and warm. Then it turned and walked back to its family. Santos came to stand beside Chen. "Did that thing just thank you?" "I think so. The council is not going to believe this." Chen smiled. "Then we will have to show them." The Marines made camp near the research station. The shadow hunters stayed close, not threatening, watching, protecting maybe. Over the next few days, a strange relationship began to form. Private Walker was the most changed. The man who had wanted to shoot first now spent hours sitting near the creatures. He had learned that they liked the sweet ration bars best. He brought them as offerings. The creatures accepted them with those pleased sounds. They communicate through vibrations, Walker told Chen one evening. Those clicks are like echolocation. They see the world through sound. But the other sounds, the soft ones, those are their language. How do you know that? Walker pointed to the lead creature, the one Chen had first contacted. She showed me. I think she is the mother of the young one we rescued. She has been teaching me. Chen looked at him. Teaching you. Watch. Walker made a series of sounds, clicks and soft tones. The lead creature responded. They went back and forth for several seconds. What did you say? Chen asked. I said thank you for protecting us last night. She said we are family now. Walker paused. I think she means it literally. In their culture, saving a child makes you part of the pack. Chen thought about this. The implications were enormous. These creatures were not just intelligent, they were social. They had culture. They had family bonds that could extend to other species. The Galactic Council classified thousands of species across the galaxy, but only a handful were considered truly intelligent. Most of those species had developed technology, ships and weapons and cities. The Shadow Hunters had none of that. They were what the Council called primitive, animals to be studied or avoided. But Chen knew now that the Council was wrong. Intelligence was not about building things. It was about thinking, about feeling, about choosing. The Shadow Hunters chose to help the Marines. They chose to forgive humans even after humans had taken one of their children. That was more intelligent than most species Chen had met. On the fourth day, Chen received a message from Command. A rescue ship was coming. They would arrive in 2 days. What do we tell them? Santos asked. The truth, Chen said. Everything that happened, everything we learned. They will want to take the creatures for study. Over my dead body. Santos smiled. Thought you might say that. The rescue ship arrived on schedule. It landed in the same clearing where the dropship had come down. A full platoon of Marines came out, weapons ready. Colonel Hammond led them. He was a hard man with gray hair and cold eyes. He had commanded forces across a dozen worlds. He had killed things that made Shadow Hunters look like puppies. Sergeant Chen, he said, report. Chen told him everything. The dead researchers, the captured creature, the communication with the Shadow Hunters, the pack that had adopted her squad. Hammond listened without expression. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. You are telling me, he said slowly, that you made friends with Class 7 predators. Yes, sir. Predators that killed 4 researchers. No, sir, the researchers died of fear and stress. The creatures never harmed them. They only wanted their child back. Hammond looked past her at the Shadow Hunters watching from the tree line. And now they are what? Pets. Family, sir. According to their customs, we saved one of their children. That makes us part of their pack. The Council will not accept this. These creatures are classified as dangerous wildlife. They will want them studied, contained, maybe eliminated if they pose a threat to future settlements. Chen stepped forward. Sir, with respect, if the Council tries to harm these creatures, they will have to go through my squad first. Hammond's eyes narrowed. That sounds like insubordination, Sergeant. It sounds like protecting innocent beings, sir, which is what Marines are supposed to do. The two stared at each other. Neither blinked. Then Hammond did something unexpected. He laughed. Your father was the same way, he said. Stubborn as hell, willing to throw away his career for what he believed was right. Chen blinked. You knew my father. Served with him 30 years ago. He saved my life once, said it was his job to protect people, even stupid officers who walked into ambushes. Hammond shook his head. Fine, you want to protect your new friends. Then you better have a plan, because the Council will come for them eventually. I have a plan, sir. Let me hear it. Chen took a breath. We declare Kethros 7 a protected world, home to an intelligent species that has not developed technology. The Council has protocols for that. No colonization, no exploitation, research only with species consent. The Council will say they are not intelligent enough. They have no cities, no tools, no writing. Then we prove them wrong. Chen pointed at Walker. Private Walker has already learned basic communication with them. Give us time and we can learn more. We can show the Council that intelligence comes in many forms. Hammond considered this. You are asking me to go to war with the entire Galactic Council. I am asking you to do what is right, sir. The colonel was silent for a long time. The shadow hunters watched from the trees. The Marines watched from the clearing. The whole world seemed to hold its breath. Fine, Hammond said finally. I will give you 6 months. Learn everything you can. Document everything. Give me proof that these creatures deserve protection. He paused. And Chen, do not make me regret this. I will not, sir. Hammond turned and walked back to his ship. His Marines followed. Within an hour they were gone. Chen let out a breath she did not know she was holding. That went well, Santos said. It went terribly, Chen replied. 6 months is not enough time. The Council will send inspectors, scientists, people who have already made up their minds. Then we better get to work. Chen nodded. She looked at the shadow hunters. The lead creature was watching her. Those eyeless faces could express emotion, Chen had learned. Right now she could see hope. We will not let you down, Chen said quietly. I promise. The creature made a soft sound. Agreement, trust. They had a lot of work to do. The next 6 months were the hardest of Chen's life. She split her squad into teams. Some stayed at the research station to compile data. Others lived with the Shadow Hunter pack, learning their ways. Walker became the primary translator, spending every day with the creatures. They learned amazing things. The Shadow Hunters were not just one pack. They were a whole civilization spread across the continent. Different packs controlled different territories. They had complex social structures, elders who made decisions, young ones who learned from their parents, hunters who provided food for those who could not hunt. They communicated not just through sound but through scent and touch. Their clicking was like human speech. But they also left chemical messages on trees and rocks, stories that could last for generations. They had no written language, but they had oral tradition. Stories passed down from parent to child for thousands of years. Tales of the world before the purple trees. Tales of great hunts and terrible dangers. Tales of the sky beings who came and went. Chen realized with a shock that other species had visited Kethros 7 before. Long ago, the Shadow Hunters remembered them. What happened to them? Chen asked Walker one day. The other sky beings. Walker spoke with the lead creature, whom they had named Mother. The conversation took several minutes. She says they came and took things, Walker reported. Took plants and animals and rocks. Then they left and never came back. But they left something behind. What? Sickness? Something that killed many of our ancestors. It took generations to recover. Chen felt cold. Previous explorers brought disease to this world. Yes, that is why the Shadow Hunters were so afraid when we came. They thought we would bring death again. But they helped us anyway. Mother says they had to take the risk. They could not let another child die in a cage. Chen wrote all of this down, every detail, every story. She built a case that would prove the Shadow Hunters were people, not animals. But time was running out. The Council sent their inspection team after 4 months. 3 scientists and 2 officials. They arrived with recording equipment and cold professional attitudes. Dr. Renav Voss led the team. She was an expert in xenobiology. She had studied hundreds of species across the galaxy. None of them had impressed her. These creatures are fascinating. she admitted after a week of observation. Their echolocation is more advanced than anything I have seen. Their social structure is remarkably complex. Complex enough to be called intelligent? Chen asked. Intelligence requires certain markers, tool use, abstract reasoning, language with grammar and syntax. Voss shook her head. These creatures have some of those traits, but not enough. Their oral tradition goes back thousands of years. They remember things that happened before humans reached the stars. Memory is not intelligence. Many animals have excellent memories. Chen wanted to scream, but she kept her voice calm. What would convince you, Dr. Voss? Voss thought about it. Show me creativity. Show me that they can imagine something that does not exist and then make it real. That is the true mark of intelligence. Chen went to Walker. She explained what they needed. That is a hard request, Walker said. Their culture does not work the same way ours does. They do not build things. There must be something, some way they express creativity. Walker spoke with Mother. The conversation lasted hours. When it was done, Walker looked excited. She says there is something, but it is sacred. They do not share it with outsiders. He paused. She is willing to make an exception because we are family now. The next day, Mother led them deep into the jungle. Not just Chen and Walker and Voss. The whole pack came, even the young one they had rescued, now healthy and strong. They walked for many hours. The jungle changed around them. The trees became ancient, huge beyond imagining. Their trunks were wider than buildings. Their roots spread across the ground like rivers frozen in time. Then they reached the sacred place. It was a clearing in the heart of the ancient forest, and in that clearing was something that took Chen's breath away. Sculptures, dozens of them, made from wood and stone and bone. They showed shadow hunters in various poses, hunting, playing, caring for young, but they also showed other things, things that did not exist. Creatures with wings like birds but bodies like shadow hunters, trees that touched the sky, rivers that flowed upward. Imagination, Walker whispered, dreams made solid. Dr. Voss walked among the sculptures, her professional mask cracked. Chen could see wonder in her eyes. How long have they been making these? Voss asked. Walker asked Mother. She says the tradition is older than memory. Each generation adds new sculptures, new dreams. Voss touched one of the carvings. It showed a shadow hunter standing upright looking at the stars. This is art, real art, not just representation, aspiration. Is that enough? Chen asked. Voss was quiet for a long time. When she spoke, her voice was different, softer. I have spent my whole career looking for intelligence in the galaxy. I thought I knew what it looked like, cities and ships and written words. She shook her head. I was wrong. This is intelligence, different from ours but just as real. Will you tell the council that? Voss nodded. I will tell them exactly what I saw, and I will recommend full protection for this species and this world. Chen felt tears on her face. She did not try to hide them. Mother approached her. The creature made that soft sound. The one Walker said meant family. Then she did something new. She pressed her forehead against Chen's forehead. It was a gesture Chen had seen the shadow hunters share with each other, their most intimate sign of affection. Chen stayed still. She let the moment last. Thank you, she whispered, for trusting us. Mother made a sound that needed no translation. You are welcome, family. The council debate lasted 3 weeks. Dr. Voss presented her findings, the art, the oral tradition, the complex social structures. She argued passionately that the shadow hunters deserve protection. Others disagreed. Corporations wanted the planet for its resources. Military officials worried about the threat level. Politicians argued about precedent and policy. Sergeant Chen was called to testify. She told her story. She showed the recordings. She introduced Walker, who demonstrated his ability to communicate with the creatures. Then she said something that changed everything. The Galactic Council was created to bring order to the galaxy, to protect the weak from the strong, to ensure that no species would be exploited or destroyed by those more powerful. She looked at each council member in turn. The Shadow Hunters are not weak. They are different. They chose to help us when they could have killed us. They forgave us when we stole their child. They shared their sacred places with strangers. That is strength, real strength. The kind of strength this council was created to protect. The vote was close, but it passed. Kethros 7 was declared a protected world. No colonization, no exploitation, research only with species consent, which required communication through trained translators. Walker was the first official translator. He would spend years on the planet, learning more of the Shadow Hunter language. He would write books that would change how the galaxy understood intelligence. But that was later. On the day the vote passed, Chen received a message. It was from Colonel Hammond. "Well done, Sergeant. Your father would be proud." Chen smiled. She forwarded the message to her mother. Then she packed her bags. Her time on Kethros 7 was ending. New Marines would come to maintain the protection station. New scientists would study the Shadow Hunters with respect instead of cages. But before she left, Chen had one more thing to do. She walked into the jungle alone. The path was familiar now. She had walked it many times over the past months. Mother was waiting for her at the usual spot. The creature seemed to know this was goodbye. "I have to leave," Chen said. Walker had taught her enough Shadow Hunter sounds to say this. "My pack needs me elsewhere." Mother made a sad sound, but also understanding. Packs had territories. Members sometimes had to range far. "I will come back," Chen promised, "someday." Mother pressed her forehead against Chen's, that intimate gesture of family. Then she stepped back. She made a series of sounds, complex, musical. It took Chen a moment to understand. It was a blessing, a Shadow Hunter blessing for those who travel far. "May your hunts be successful. May your pack be strong. May you always find your way home." Chen repeated the blessing back. Her pronunciation was terrible, but Mother seemed pleased. Then Chen turned and walked back toward the research station. She did not look back. Looking back would make leaving impossible. The dropship was waiting. Santos and the rest of her squad were already aboard. They had said their own goodbyes. "Ready, Sergeant?" Santos asked. "Ready." The ramp closed, the engines fired, the ship rose through the green sky. Chen watched through the window as the jungle fell away. Somewhere down there, a pack of Shadow Hunters was watching the sky, watching their family leave. "Do you think we made a difference?" Walker asked quietly. Chen nodded. "We proved that humans can be more than conquerors. We can be friends, family, even with creatures that scare us. The Council will probably assign us to some boring patrol duty after this." "Probably. Worth it, though." Chen smiled. "Definitely worth it." The ship broke through the atmosphere. Stars filled the windows. Somewhere out there, other worlds waited, other species, other chances to do something good. Chen leaned back in her seat and closed her eyes. She had landed on a hostile world. She had made friends with predators. She had changed galactic policy. Not bad for a sergeant from Earth. The ship jumped to faster-than-light speed. Kethros 7 disappeared behind them, but it would never really be gone. Not from Chen's heart, not from the hearts of any Marine who had served there. They had found something rare in the galaxy, true connection between species, true understanding. And they had proven something important. Humans were not just warriors, not just explorers, not just conquerors. They were the species that could look at a monster and see a friend, that could face fear and choose trust instead. They were the species that made family wherever they went. They were Terran Marines. And the galaxy would never be the same.